All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Monday Motivation. This is also mindset and motivation. So let me remind you how these talks come about, right? When I have conversations with my clients, as I do daily, the things I hear all the time, the things I find that are the most pervasive, I figure, hey, there's got to be a bunch of people out there who are dealing with the same issue. And that is how these talks come about. They come about from having conversations with you guys. And I've been getting some great feedback, so keep that feedback coming and let me know how I'm affecting your lives and how these Monday motivations are really helping you to move forward on your journey to becoming your best self, to creating that future self, and to realize that future vision that you're working towards. So today, let's talk about, one of the topics this week is complacency and how not to become complacent on this journey, because it's very easy. It's very easy to get comfortable. And when you get comfortable doing the things you're doing, well, being comfortable is usually the death of progress. To keep making progress, you've got to be uncomfortable. You got to be uncomfortable. That means you're always learning, you're always growing. If you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not being challenged. If you're not challenging yourself, then you're going to be comfortable. And when you're comfortable, guess what? Your body is comfortable. Your body is comfortable doing what it wants to, what you're asking it to do. And when your body is comfortable, I guarantee you are not making progress. You see, your body always strives for efficiency. So when you're comfortable, your body is very comfortable. And when your body is very comfortable doing the things that you're doing, you won't make any progress. So you're going to be wondering, why am I not losing weight? Why am I at a plateau? Because you're too damn comfortable. If you're comfortable doing the things you're doing, comfortable and progress don't go hand in hand. You got to be reaching. You got to be stretching. You've got to be achieving. You've got to challenge yourself. When you're challenging yourself, then you're more likely to be challenging your body to grow, to stimulate growth. Remember all the things that need to happen for your body to burn fat, right? It's about your hormones. Your body has to mobilize those hormones. Glucagon has to mobilize your stored body fat to be used as energy. Well, it's not that easy, right? Because if you're comfortable, chances are that's not going to happen, right? If you're not reaching and not stretching so that you're using up the stored muscle glycogen and the blood sugar that you've got, if you're not using those things up, then you're never going to get to fat storage, right? And it's more likely that you're using those things up when you're stretching, when you're reaching, when you're growing, when you're moving beyond what's comfortable, when you're being uncomfortable, when you're challenging yourself with those workouts. And I don't care what workouts you do. I give you guys very challenging chair workouts to do. You should be doing HIIT workouts. Okay, you can do 10 minutes? Great. Now let's strive for 15. You can do 15 minutes? Great. Now let's strive for 20. When you get to 20, now let's strive for 30. Don't get too comfortable sitting around doing your 7-10 minute workouts, because then you get comfortable and you're not striving, you're not challenging yourself. And when you're not challenging yourself, you're not stimulating growth. Growth comes when you're uncomfortable. That means you're going beyond what you can do. You're going beyond what is easy for you. And whether you're sitting, whether you're doing chair workouts, whether you're walking with a walker, you can still challenge yourself. I have clients in wheelchairs who are challenging themselves to stand, to move their bodies in ways that they haven't been able to. Well, guess what? That's a challenge. So it doesn't have to be the big, hit workouts where you're jumping around like 20-year-olds. Well, most of you aren't 20-year-olds, right? So you shouldn't be doing all that jumping stuff. So there's a lot of things you can do, right? You can do standing knee-friendly workouts. You can do chair workouts. You can do in-place workouts. I give you some power walking workouts that are pretty darn challenging. But the idea is you got to challenge yourself. If you can do 10 minutes comfortably, well, that tells you it's time to move on. If you can use those 5-pound weights comfortably, well, that tells you it's time to move on. It's time to move up to the 7s. And when you can do the 7s, why not try the 10s? I have clients who have started at 3 and now they're up to 20. That's challenging themselves. Those same clients have also lost 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds. Why? They're challenging themselves. If you're staying with those 3s or those 5s and it's comfortable, guess what? That's great for your health. You're going to be very healthy. But it's unlikely your body is going to change. When you're too comfortable, your body gets very comfortable doing exactly what you want it to do with very little effort. So fat burning doesn't take place when you're comfortable. Fat burning takes place when you're striving, when you're going beyond what you think you can do, when you're reaching. That is when you're growing. That is when you're going places. So when you're sitting at these plateaus and you're asking yourself, why am I still at this plateau? Chances are you're too comfortable. Ask yourself, how comfortable are you? Or better yet, ask yourself, how uncomfortable are the things you're doing? If the things you're doing daily aren't uncomfortable, then chances are you're not growing. And I know a lot of you run away from being uncomfortable. I know a lot of you run away from the challenges that, this journey brings. You don't like the challenges. You want to be comfortable. Well, I'm here to tell you that being comfortable is the death of your progress. I'm here to tell you that in order to keep making progress, you got to run towards the uncomfortable. You've got to embrace the things that are uncomfortable. You got to get away from being complacent. When you're too complacent, you're not getting anywhere. You're just going to stay exactly where you are. So when you find yourself sitting in that garden of complacency, right? You're sitting in the garden of complacency. You're smelling the rose. Nothing wrong with that. I love smelling the roses. But when you're sitting in that garden of complacency, smelling the roses, well, hey, how do you move away from there? How do you move on? Because you can't stay there. You got to get down into the valley and you got to work through that mire, that muck. You got to walk through that quicksand, right? That's challenge. You need that challenge in order to grow. So how do you move away from that bed of roses that you're sitting around smelling? Well, you move away by reconnecting to your why. Why are you on this journey in the first place? Why am I on this journey? Why is this important to me? You see the reason why you have a deep emotional existential why? Because it comes in handy so often when you start finding yourself complacent, when you get to these places where you're sitting at a plateau, chances are you're too damn complacent. You're too comfortable. Your meals have gotten comfortable. You have to stop challenging yourself. You're probably sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm doing okay. Well, what I'm doing isn't bad. And then the little habits, bad habits start creeping in again. That's what happens when you get too comfortable. That's what happens when you become too complacent. Right? Those little bad habits start to sneak in again. And you don't even notice them. You stop planning those meals. You stop showing your coach what you're eating. Right? You get too complacent. You think you've got it. Right? And before you know it, those bad habits start creeping in. And nobody's there to check you because guess what? I'm not seeing your meals because you've gotten complacent. You think you can do this on your own. You've gotten complacent. You're out there on your own. You're sitting in that bed of roses and you think you can do this by yourself. So you're not getting the feedback. You're not getting the guidance that you need. You see why you need to continue to plan those meals and share that plan or share your meals. Quite frankly, your plan is for you. I don't care about your plan. I want to see what you're eating. That's what I tell my clients. I want to see what you're doing. Biggest 50% of the people who plan don't really follow their plan. So I want to see what you're eating. So you want to move forward. Well, you got to get back showing me what you're eating, whether that's pictures or just a mess. I need to see what you're eating. You need to get back into working with your coach. You need to get back into getting the feedback. You need to become uncomfortable again. That is how you're going to move forward. That is how you're going to get away from being complacent. You reconnect to your why, and you reconnect to the support that you have. A lot of you are not taking advantage of the support. A lot of you are not taking advantage of the coaching. You're around, you show up to the weekly calls, but you're not planning those meals. You're not sharing those meals with me or your other coaches. You're becoming complacent. You've become complacent. And remember, complacency is the death of progress. Complacency is the death of progress. So that's why you're probably sitting at that plateau for a month, 2 months. It's okay. You'll get beyond it. No need to think about quitting. You've come this far and you will get there. You just need to step away from being complacent. You need to step away from being too comfortable. You need to get uncomfortable again. That is how you're going to make progress. So you recommit to your goal, right? You recommit to getting uncomfortable again. You find a challenge. This is how you move away from complacency. You start challenging yourselves again. This is why I do challenges every month or every 6 week or 1 month challenges, to give you something to strive for, to give you some way of challenging yourself, right? We do HIIT workout challenges to give you a way of challenging yourself to move beyond what you think you're capable of. You got to challenge yourself. You got to recommit to your why. You got to find a way to challenge yourself. You've got to find a way to become uncomfortable again. When those workouts are uncomfortable, you're growing. When you're reaching towards a new goal, you're going. So you got to set some milestone. If you've reached a milestone or you're at a plateau, well, let's set some new milestone. What is that new milestone that you're reaching towards? You always got to be reaching towards something, guys. To move away from complacency, you got to be reaching towards something. So keep reaching, keep growing, keep striving. Become uncomfortable. Embrace the uncomfortable. When you become too comfortable, I guarantee that you're probably not making the progress that you can make. So to move forward, to get to that dream of creating that future vision that you have in mind, to get to that place where you're moving towards that person you're becoming, you need to strive to be uncomfortable. You need to move beyond being complacent. You need to up your game. You gotta up your game, guys. Right? Those workouts, you gotta up your game. You gotta go back to the basics and focus on the meals, planning those meals, getting your coach involved with giving you the feedback and the guidance that you need. You gotta get back focusing on your water, on your activity, on your exercise, on your sleep, how you deal with the stresses in your life. These are the basic foundations of what's going to help you to get there. But when you become too complacent, you stop striving and your progress will stall. So learn to embrace the uncomfortable. That is how you're going to get out of being complacent. Hope this is helpful.